WiSP Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Hello and thank you for downloading this special episode on WiSP Sports, where we hear from some of our WiSP ambassadors about their year, 2019, what it meant for them and their highlights, and as we then look forward to 2020 and hear about their goals for the new year. Today we're hearing from Canadian squash player Sam Cornett, who stepped back from being a professional player this year to go back to school. So we'll hear from her what that means to her professional career and what else she may be doing in squash as she looks forward to 2020. That was a big year for you in terms of changes, wasn't it?
Yes, it's been a busy year trying to figure out exactly what direction I'm going in.
But you made the choice and you're happy with your decisions, right?
Yeah, I just started school and I'm really happy to be there. I went through a lot of, career counseling, and I had a lot of help to find the program that I'm in, and I'm super grateful for that.
So tell us about the decision then, because walking away from your sport when you're, at the top of your game, you've been doing this for a long time now. So that was a big decision. What precipitated it? And tell us a little bit more about what your chosen path is now.
Well, right now I'm kind of in the throes of, to be honest, I haven't fully retired. I'm definitely moving in that direction. So I have a lot of people that I want to talk to about this before I, make that final decision. But I guess life kind of, I thought I would play pro forever, and I was very ready to go for another 10 years, but life just kind of happened. I don't know. People always say that phrase, but it's true. There's some things that just come across that are just, they take over, and they're really important, like family, and it kind of changes everything. It changes the way I look. It changed the way I looked at my sport and all the traveling and competing I was doing. So. Yeah.
Just gives you time to be reflective at what's important in life too, right?
Definitely. Yeah. And this squash has been really important to me, and I'm not taking anything away from that. It's just, I guess as you go through life, your focus shifts, I guess, here and there. Maybe it's different for some people than others, but I've just found that has happened to me.
Well, and let's not underestimate. I mean, you did lose your dad, and you were very close to him. I know that's almost 2 years, is it now, Sam? Is it going on 2 years?
Yeah, just over.
Yeah. And that was a major event in your life, obviously. And finding your way again, it does change your perspective, doesn't it? When you have a major milestone like that and a major loss in your life.
Definitely.
And changes your priorities. So you walked away a little bit from the sport, but you're still coaching.
Yeah, I'm coaching. I got to compete in one event at the end of October, start of November, and it was actually in my dad's name, and I managed to get the win. It was a pro tournament held at my home club, and it was a lot of fun to compete, and it was obviously very emotional to get that win, and have all the people that have been close to our family as I grew up and played a lot of squash. So it was really nice.
Very nice. Very nice. So coaching now, does that mean that you have a penchant for coaching? Is that something you would like to do more of in the future?
I'd like to definitely stay involved. I don't know in what capacity, if it will be as like a full-time professional coach, or if it will be maybe more of a mentor opportunity, or being, involved in like the boards and the committees for Squash Canada. I'd like to help, because a lot of people help me. So I don't know exactly what that will look like, especially while I'm at school, because it's taking a lot of time. But yeah, I'm definitely going to help out every way I can.
Well, school you mentioned now a couple of times, so people are probably wondering, if they don't know you, what are you doing at school? Why did you want to go back to school, and what are you studying?
I never really had any kind of penchant for school, but I kind of developed an interest over the last year or two, and I got some really cool counseling. I don't know if you've heard of the program called Game Plan, but it's like a awesome program that helps set you up for success post, competitive sport career. And I got some program counseling with a U of T course counselor, I guess she could be called, thanks to my personal counselor through Game Plan. And I ended up, U of T is University of Toronto, apologies, and she pointed me away from university, which I'm so grateful for, because I was thinking about it, but I had already tried it and I knew I didn't really like it. So I'm now at George Brown College. We found the perfect program. It's called Activities Coordinator in Gerontology. So I'm kind of, if I may call it, a rec therapist, life enrichment therapist for seniors. That would be my job after my college, my 2-year college program.
I know who to call on now, don't I?
Not for a while, Chris. Right?
All right. Yeah, hopefully not for a while. All right. So let's look back at 2019 then, because I know you were keeping an eye on the major tournaments earlier this year.
Yeah. So in squash, we events, but in terms of our top tier events on the world tour, the most recent one was our Women's World Championship. It was won by Noor El Sherbini, who is no stranger to winning a world champs, and she beat Raneem El Walili, who's the current number 1. So a bit of an upset there. Noor's been out for a little bit with an injury, so it was probably felt pretty good for her to come back and win that. Then if you just look back one round in that draw, actually, it's very interesting. In the semifinals of the world champs, it was all Egyptian players. And one of them was a notably young woman who took out Camille Serme from France, who's a really, really strong player. Her name is, that fourth semifinalist is Hania El Hamami. And she's quite young. I think she's 19, maybe 18, and very, very talented. So keep an eye out for her name. And then moving further back, there was a US Open that was earlier in this first half of the season, and we had another Egyptian final of Nouran Gohar. She beat Nour El Tayeb 3-2 in the final, so like a real nail biter there. Before that, we had 2 gold events. So the US Open was platinum, and then NetSuite Open in San Francisco, that was a gold event. A couple more Egyptians in the final. No, same names are coming around. Raneem El Walili beat Nour El Tayeb. And earlier than that, we had the China Open, another gold event, and Nour El Tayeb beat Raneem. So a little bit of back and forth there. Very exciting. And I guess on a more local note, you'd be interested to know that, so I don't know if you know Amanda Sobey, but she's top 10 in the world from the US, and her younger sister just finished college in the States, and she just won 2 tournaments in a row. Her name's Sabrina Sobey, and she won 2 like sizable tournaments, one $10,000 or $15,000 event, and then just now a $20,000 event. So she's in fine form out of college.
Yeah, straight out of college. So she's going to give her sister a run for her money then.
That's right.
Yeah, awesome. It's curious. I watched the sport, and the results, obviously, Sam, and you mentioned all these Egyptian names that are coming up. Why are the Egyptians so good at this? Do they put a lot of money into the sport over there?
I don't know if there's like the organized, coordinated effort of maybe the whole country, but like I don't get that impression. But there are numbers, and there are hubs that just I don't know if they promote squash or if it's just the sport has such a draw to, because there have been some great role models, so it just attracts so many people to the game. And I think they get a lot of notoriety in the country in terms of press and media So I think a lot of people are really aware of the squash players in Egypt. Like I bet you Noor El Shabini, Raneem El Walili are household names, would be my guess. So it's just like a natural thing, I think, for youths to want to play. And you're gonna go to a club and there's 36 courts and they're all busy with 8-year-olds just whacking the ball harder than I could possibly dream of whacking it. So that's what I've seen when I've gone, and it's pretty incredible.
I guess, that success brings, as you say, notoriety. It brings media attention to if you're the top players in the world in any sport, right? So it's going to encourage others. And it's great that they have the visibility and they have the equality in the sport. We've just seen a new president of the women's committee on the PSA. Is that right?
That's right. Sarah Jane Perry taking over.
Sarah Jane, yeah. So, I think it's a sport that's really a good role model, really, isn't it, for women in sport generally, because there is equality.
Yeah, there's a lot of push for that, and they've worked really hard at that. Obviously, there's still room to grow for both the men and the women. I think it's a tough sport, right? Because it doesn't have Olympic notoriety, like squash is not in the Olympics. So I think we have to fight pretty hard for it, and our the people behind the World Tour do a really good job of that.
Yeah, it seems very well organized. I mean, they push out press releases almost every day. They're very proactive and give just as much coverage to the women as they do to the men. Yeah, it's good. Now, I know you follow some other sports as well, so let's look back on what you've been following this year, what the highlights would be for you.
Yeah, I'm not, I'm more of a sports player than a sports watcher, but I've definitely seen some pretty cool stuff from people I've come across on my travels. So 2 really notable results. The first one was my good friend Erica Gavel. She was on the team for Canada that won gold at the Para-Pan Am Games this summer, playing in the wheelchair basketball event, and they beat the US, and in doing all of that they qualified for Tokyo, which is pretty cool. So they're off to the Paralympics in Tokyo, and that means they secured all their funding and stuff. So from like for my buddy, I'm really glad for her that she did that. And the other event that I saw was the beach volleyball world championships, and a couple really awesome women won the women's doubles. I don't know if it's called doubles, won the women's event. Sarah Pavan and Melissa Humana Paredes, they won gold, and they are super cool chicks, like unreal. They are very involved in a lot of stuff. So I was pretty impressed, and really impressed to see people that are so involved in their communities also excelling so much at their sports. So,
and they had a pretty nice venue for that, didn't they? Go to Dubai for the World Champs.
I think they were in Germany, but I could.
Oh, in Germany. What was the beach sports though that went to all of the beach sports went to Dubai for a tournament this year? Yeah, yeah. So cool. The volleyball itself was in Germany, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, that wouldn't be as hot. That wouldn't be as hot. I think I'd rather go to Dubai.
Would be rough.
Cool. And so do you get a chance to do any other sports? You said you're not a spectator necessarily, but what else do you do in the sports world than when you're not playing squash?
When I'm not playing squash, I've done a bit of soccer recently, just really super non-competitive. I'm not very good at team sports in terms of if I get competitive in a team sport, then it's going to be not nice. That's why I stick to individual sports. So I try and be very relaxed and just enjoy, so very relaxed co-ed soccer. And whenever I can find some ice to skate on, I'll jump out there. But I don't have any of my hockey equipment anymore, unfortunately.
Oh, well, you're in the right part of the world there for finding some ice to skate on.
Yeah, there's some just down the street.
Yeah, I bet there is. So when you play soccer recreationally, you're forward, defense, where are you?
I seem to be a defense. I don't know what I'm doing up in the front there.
Okay, well, it's all
Yeah,
good fun. It gets you
yeah,
running around, I guess. Very different to
absolutely.
squash.
Yeah,
Awesome.
really different. That team trying to, pass and figure out how the other people work is so interesting.
How's your training discipline, your fitness discipline, now that you've stopped being a pro, Sam?
Well, I was very relaxed right when I started school. And now I've actually enlisted my cousin to help me. She runs a, like meal plan and workout regimen and like lifestyle sort of company. And it's been very, very, very helpful as I've continued. I'm very grateful to her. Oh,
So
it's
that's
great.
going to be helpful going into the holiday season then when the temptations are everywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm no saint, so there have been cookies consumed.
Well, it sounds like you've deserved a little bit of break after years of discipline and being a pro. So you can give yourself an easy time now, Sam, and enjoy it. Right, going into the holidays.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris, for that.
I can give you permission. There you go. And how about in Toronto, in Canada, generally? Do you do the British kind of things that we used to have, like mince pies, Christmas pudding, Christmas cake? Do you do all of that?
I think we're pretty focused on chocolate, like less baking and more just consuming, Yeah.
I wondered how much had been carried out to the colonies of those British
Yeah.
traditions.
It's definitely around, but a good Toblerone bar will go a long way for me.
Good deal. Well, Sam, thanks for taking time to do this, and the very best of luck for whatever brings 2020 brings you. And I'm
Thank
sure
you.
there'll be a squash ball involved somewhere with the coaching.
Absolutely.
And have a wonderful Christmas holiday.
Thank you, Chris. You as well.
Happy holidays from WiSP Sports.
And if you'd like to follow Sam on social media, then just jump over to wisports.com to the show page, and the notes accompanying this episode. Just drop down the Listen tab to Athlete Profile and you'll find all the links there. And of course, you can always join in the conversation by following us on social media at WiSP Sports. And whilst you're listening to podcast over this holiday season, do check out some of the other shows that we have here on WiSP Sports. We have 46 unique shows, 18 of those are currently in production, with 15 hosts around the world and over 1,200 episodes. We're delighted to be the only podcast network for women's sports in the world, and we have a lot more to come in 2020. So stay tuned to WiSP Sports on your podcast app. Until the next time, thank you for listening and supporting women in sport everywhere. A very happy holidays to you from all of us here at WiSP Sports.